Hey there, guys, and welcome back to the Travis and Damian podcast, episode 175. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and more. Today, we are talking about Ghost of Yotei, Pokemon Legends ZA, Halo Campaign Evolved, Kirby Air Riders 2 Direct, Star Wars The Hunt for Ben Solo, Stranger Things 5, and more. But as usual, we will begin with the recent activities. I'll go first. I finally went back to the theaters as a A-list subscriber. I've been lacking a little bit, so I saw 2 movies within the past 2 weeks. First up, Shelby Oaks. This is the movie made by Chris Stuckman. If you guys don't know who he is a notable YouTube content creator, mainly film critic, and he went on this endeavor for the past couple of years to make a horror film. He did it through Kickstarter and all that other stuff. And I wasn't one of the backers, but I have been keeping an eye on it because obviously I watch his videos. I like his reviews, even though ever since he started making the movie, he hasn't really done any like negative reviews, and I don't think he scores his reviews anymore. Anyways, that's a whole other thing. But the movie itself, you know, his first time behind the camera, his first time writing, directing, all of that stuff. It was good. It's not necessarily like a masterpiece. The main flaw of the movie that I always tell people when I have been talking about it is that it really has a hard time sticking the landing. The ending is pretty bad, and once we get past like the 2/3 mark, and once like more of the horror and like the mystery element of it starts to get revealed, it's like, oh, okay, like it's not as good as it was building up to it. Because I think the beginning, some people don't really like it because it is a lot of like expedition dumping. It acts as like a mockumentary at first, where it's like, oh yeah, like this group of like YouTuber like ghost hunters, like they went missing, and we follow this one character who is one of those content creators' sister, because she went missing, and the other people within that group, their bodies were found, but her body was never found. So she's still looking for her sister, and we're sort of following the story through her lens. And it's really, really good. The suspense and the scary horror stuff, it's all there. But like I said, sticking that landing, really, really bad. But I think if Chris Stuckman were to make another movie, because obviously this one took a while, and he has, I think, 2 kids at home, so you know he's got a lot going on for him. But if he ever wanted to do another film, I think that he would do a much better job, whether it's within the horror realm or whatever else. Because I'm sure he learned a lot on set and just making this film in general. But just seeing the press for it, I mean, every single time he talks about the movie, he is very, very passionate about film. So it's very awesome to see him actually create a movie like this. And I think it's been doing pretty decently well, especially for a small indie film like this. It is backed by Neon, who is one of the more notable, I guess, movie publishing companies. But yeah. And then the other film that I watched is Good Fortune. I wasn't really going to watch this. And then I went on like this spooky maze thing with my cousins, and one of my cousins' fiance, he was like, hey, like you guys should go and watch this movie if you guys like comedies. I was like, yeah, sure. It has Seth Rogen, Keanu Reeves, and I'm gonna fucking butcher.
Oh, this one. Yeah, I think I've seen trailers for this.
I'm gonna butcher his name. AZ Anasari. He is the guy from Parks and Rec, which I am currently watching. And he also wrote and directed this movie as well. So yeah, I mean, with that cast of characters, I was like, this is going to be like at least a good time. And it was a lot of fun. I think the sort of social meta commentary about like what's going on today with like capitalism and like the job market and stuff, they do a pretty good job of it, because we follow Azzy's character, and he's sort of like a sort of down on his dumb sort of dude, where he's like everything's going wrong for him, nothing's right within his life. And then Seth Rogen's character, he's like the sort of rich guy who has like everything, you know, he had like his own startup and everything like that. And then Keanu Reeves is like, hey, let me like switch your lives, and like you could see like it's not as good as it is on the other side. And then shenanigans ensue. A lot of things happen within this less than 2-hour runtime, and by the end of it, I was like, yeah, like that was a lot of fun. I think it's definitely one of the sleeper hits of October in terms of like a big budget Hollywood movie, because you know a cast like that can't be cheap, even though it is a comedy movie on the shorter side of things. But very, very good. If it's still playing within your theaters, definitely check it out. Then I read some comic books, just a quick comic book update. So first up, the book that's been taking everyone by storm this past week, which is Absolute Batman Annual. I feel like whenever a new Absolute Batman issue comes out, it's always like, holy shit, freaking Scott Snyder is cooking, but this is the annual. So the annual, it doesn't have Snyder in it, but it is written and drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson, which I talked about last week with the Transformers book. He is such a badass creator. The fact that he is able to write and draw as well as he does is like insane. So he wrote a story where Batman fights some white supremacists, just to like put it like point blank. Like that's exactly what he does. And it takes up 2/3 of this annual. There's another short story at the end of it, but pretty much everyone bought this book because of the Daniel Warren Johnson story. And it's fucking amazing. I am not reading Absolute Batman month to month, but I picked up this annual for this cover and for that story alone. And it really nailed it. And yeah, I mean, if you have a local comic book store in your area, or if you want to subscribe to DC Unlimited, I think you need to get one of the higher tiers to get access to it. Definitely check out this book. It is freaking awesome. I think everyone saw like the sort of paneling of like Batman breaking that guy's arm. When I opened it in here, it's a double page spread. It's not like one single panel. It's fucking double page. I was actually losing my mind. I was like, yo.
They knew they cooked, yeah.
I was like, bro, they actually put that shit on a double page spread. I love it. So yeah, Absolute Batman continues to cook. Then another one shot that is the reason why I went to my comic book store this past week, which is Superman Red and Blue Special. This is like a one-shot sort of thing that they're doing. I think it has 3 or 4 stories in there with Superman, and it's pretty much just a bunch of creators getting on this book, telling their own story with Superman, a very quick, short read. And yeah, all of the colors are obviously red and blue. So that's like a nice little aesthetic choice there. Yeah, I think all of the creators that hopped on to this book did a fantastic job of telling Superman within a different perspective, a different limelight. And like, there's just so many great and amazing stories that you could tell with Superman. And this is a great example of that. Then the final comic book thing that I read, which is Detective Comics, with Batman. If you guys don't know, this past year I read Nightwing by Tom Taylor, and Tom Taylor, this is his current book with DC, which is with Batman. With the Detective Comic stuff, it's much more focused on the mystery, sort of crime-solving type of thing. There is action in it. He still beats up bad guys, all of that other stuff, but it's mainly about him trying to figure out like what the ongoing story is. So it's a lot more narrative focused, and I love that. So it opens up with one thing, and then by the end of, I think it's like six issues in here, we figure out exactly what happened from the beginning that leads to the end. And yeah, it's very, very good. I already pre-ordered the second volume of it. It is currently ongoing, which I could pick it up month to month if I really wanted to, just like with Absolute Batman, but my pull list is already big as is, and I don't want to increase my monthly budget of comics. But yeah, then the last thing that I did was I played a little bit of Plants vs. Zombies Replanted, because there was some controversy with it where EA used AI to stretch out some of the assets and just not really good things about it. But I have EA Play because I have been playing Battlefield 6. And I was like, well, it comes out, I might as well download it, give it a try, see what it's about. I mean, it's the same old Plants vs. Zombies gameplay. It's still a lot of fun, very addicting, very chilled, laid back. I realized that like the top the top portion of your screen, there's a lot of real estate there that they don't really use. And I'm like, why is that like not like stretched in or whatever? But the assets look good. I mean, it's pretty much like what you would expect from a Plants vs. Zombies remaster. I know when you collect new plants, those sort of assets of it, they still look very pixelated. And I was like, what the fuck's going on here? So, you know, it's like a half-assed sort of remaster or whatever. But if you never played Plants vs. Zombies before, I mean, there's like a bajillion different ways to get it, but this is definitely going to be the most accessible way for you to do it today. So, you know, pay your money, do what you want with it. Just know that it is going to EA that very likely did some very weird and shady things with this re-release.
Yeah, I was like gonna buy that shit day one. Maybe not. I might still get it at some point. Yeah. I love Plants vs. Zombies 1, but man, yeah, there's been a lot of weird things with that one. But anyway, so for what I've been doing, I've been gaming. I've been gaming a lot. So I beat Ghost of Yotei, I beat Pokemon ZA. I did a lot. So obviously Ghost of Yotei we're going to talk about in a second. But first, let me talk about Legends ZA. So I beat this game. It took me around like 30 hours. And that was like doing most of the things. I did all the side quests, captured most of the Pokemon I could. And, you know, if you came in here like, oh, I'm going to slander Pokemon, probably not. I mean, I like ZA. So, the bad stuff first, like, yeah, the game still doesn't look like super great. Obviously, I'm playing the Switch 2 edition. I can't really comment on the Switch 1 version, and I really haven't seen much gameplay of the Switch 1 version. Like, I've seen some stuff where someone, like, fell out of the world, so, like, that was cool. I don't know if that was Switch 1 actual gameplay or emulator stuff. I don't really know. But in terms of my experience with the Switch 2 version, it ran like great. Like it was a steady 60 frames. I saw no frame drops. But yeah, like the game itself still looks, it's a Pokemon game, so it doesn't look super great. A lot of the textures are like, kind of like the same thing over and over. Like I'm sure you've seen all the buildings where it's like a million windows because it's just one texture over the whole building. It still isn't going to look amazing. Obviously the lack of voice acting is very awkward still, especially when the games want to have like more cinematic cutscenes. You kind of get like hit in the face with that like immediately as you start the game. It just feels super awkward. Another big complaint is the beginning is extremely slow, and I do agree with that. Like the first 3 hours are very handholdy. Like you can't do shit. Like you have to follow the NPC to do what they tell you to do, and it's very slow. Usually, I don't mind that. Usually, like I don't really care. But I know people have been very angry about that part of the game. But overall, like after I played more and more of this game, it just keeps getting better and better the more you progress through the game. Especially after like you really get Mega Evolution. I feel like that's when the game really starts going because that's sort of like the main mechanic for this game. Mm-hmm. So once you get to that point, which is like still like, I mean, for me it was like 9-ish hours because I was doing like all the side content, but you probably get in there like 5-ish hours. I think that's when the game really opens up and like the game like introduces more interesting characters, more of the side quests open up, more wild zones. You get to fight the rogue Mega Evolutions, which are like kind of like boss battles you could do with your Pokemon that are really fun. So yeah, I say like if you aren't having like too much fun with this game at the start, I say like hold on for a second because the game does get a lot better as you progress through it. It's so weird because like it's hard to be like, oh, defend $1 million company or whatever, and I feel like an asshole doing that. But like I do feel like the recent run of Pokemon games, it's like the most fun I've had with Pokemon in like a while. Like I'll say like my downest point of Pokemon was during that 3DS to early Switch era. Like I love Sun and Moon, but that was basically about it. Like I hated X and Y. Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire I didn't play till way later. I do like those games now, but I didn't really play them when it came out because I really didn't like X and Y. Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon I didn't play. Sword and Shield I thought was bad. So like there was just like a huge run where I'm like I just like I'm playing them because like I guess I like Pokemon, but I felt like I was doing it out of obligation. Mm-hmm. Ever since the DLCs for Sword and Shield came out, and then Legends Arceus, Scarlet and Violet, and now this game, I do feel like Game Freak are doing new stuff with the series, like bringing it to open world, having new capturing mechanics. This game has a whole new battle system. Like I do feel like they are listening to feedback. It's just like their time schedules is like, oh, we have to release a new Pokemon game like every few years because like that's just like what we have to do. So I feel like they can never like craft this like perfect game, which is very unfortunate. But I still think the games we have been getting, I personally have been really enjoying them just because they feel like a lot more fresh to someone that's been playing Pokemon for years and years, right? And especially like this Legend series has been like a great sort of like way to revisit old regions. I mean, I hated Kalos. Like I hate X and Y. I hated Kalos. I never gave a shit about it. I felt like a lot of plot points in that game were like dumb and it came out of nowhere. The region itself was really boring. I didn't really like remember any of the characters in that game. I just didn't give a shit about it. This game was a great way to sort of like rejuvenize that region, and like honestly the story now like actually fits the themes of X and Y being about life and death with the two legendary Pokemon. I'm like, and it was good. Like I was like, holy shit, why is the story written so well? And I was very impressed with the ending and just how they were able to approach like certain topics, because I wanted them to do a certain thing and then they did it, and I'm like, you know what, that's great, good on you, Game Freak. That was really good. And then when it comes to like just like the new stuff in this game, like the combat system is obviously all new. And I think it's pretty good. Obviously Pokemon's been turn-based for like 20 plus years now. And this is one of the first, I guess, mainline games that has like turned away from that. And I think it works mostly well. It's kind of lacking like a bit of like depth to it. Cause right now you kind of like, you bring out your Pokemon, all your moves are on cooldowns now. So you kind of just like run around the map. You could like select the move you want to do. Your Pokemon does it and there you go. The real sort of like complexity to it is you could like dodge attacks now. So you don't really notice this in the early game. And again, this kind of goes into where I think the game keeps getting better and better as you progress. because the combat just kind of boils down to just press all your moves and that's it until you get to the late game. The late game, when you actually fight the rogue mega evolutions and you actually have to dodge Pokemon attacks, that's super fun. Later trainer fights, the more powerful a Pokemon's move, the longer the charge up time, and you're able to like actually dodge the attack. Because I was just like, why can't I dodge tackle? But it doesn't work like that. The weaker the move, you're probably gonna get hit by it regardless. But if a Pokemon is gonna use like fucking Fire Blast or something, you can actually like run out of the way from it. So it actually makes the combat feel a lot more dynamic, which is great. I like the way they balance Mega Evolution in this game. In X and Y, you would just kind of like press it and win. Like there was no like timer for when you Mega Evolve. You just kind of Mega Evolve and just like sweep everyone.
Yeah.
In this game, there's a timer now. So when you Mega Evolve, you have like a certain amount of time to actually be Mega Evolved, and then it like goes away. And I think the game feels a lot more balanced with that sort of like limitation placed on it, which is good as well. Since I do think the game gets a bit challenging towards the later like optional challenges and just like some of the final fights in the end, which is great. Like I think Pokemon could always use a bit of extra challenge, but yeah, besides that, it takes some of the other mechanics from Legends Arceus, like real-time capturing. That's always fun to do. Scarlet and Violet felt a little more awkward with that. This game feels a bit better to just throw your Pokeballs at a bunch of wild Pokemon and just like capture them right there. But yeah, overall, like I really enjoyed Legends ZA. I think, like I said twice already, it gets better the more you play of it. And I do think it's a good step forward for the series. I hope they continue the Legends series and kind of make it, they kind of evolve this real-time combat, because I don't really want the mainline games to go action combat. I actually do think the turn-based style of Pokemon battles still has a lot of like depth to it. Like you could do a lot with that system. It's just the games never push you to it. So I think if they do Gen 10 eventually, which probably was going to be next year or whatever, I don't know. But when they do Gen 10, I still want that to be a turn-based game, and maybe they could evolve the Legend games to be this more action RPG style series. I would really enjoy that. So, but yeah, Legends EA, I personally really liked it a lot. I know there's a lot of controversy with this game just because it's like, oh, Game Freak does this and, blah, 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 blah. And, again, I can't blame you for ever, like, thinking that way. Like, it's hard to, like, defend Game Freak or the Pokemon Company for all the decisions they do. And, with the $30 DLC and maybe people feel like the game is incomplete. All these things I can't really refute. All I can say is the game was a lot of fun. I had a good time with it. And I personally have been having just experiencing my love for Pokemon again with these last few games, even if like these seem to be the most controversial period of Pokemon I've seen. But like, I don't know, I feel like Game Freak actually is trying to like move the series forward rather than just playing it safe. That's why I really didn't like X and Y, and why I really didn't like Sword and Shield, because they both felt like so by the numbers. I'm just like, man, I just don't care. So I'd rather have the game be a bit more broken but actually does new things, I guess, just because Pokemon is always such a stagnant franchise. But yeah, there you go. Legends EA, I like it. I think it's pretty good. So, all right. So, other thing I've been playing, really fucking random, but Jurassic World Evolution 3. So, I love Zoo Tycoon 1 and 2. As a kid, I played the shit out of these games. And another game I used to play a lot as a kid, as it came out during that same early 2000s era, was Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. Literally, it's just Zoo Tycoon with Jurassic Park, like dinosaurs, and it was awesome. I used to play those three games all the fucking time. I love them so much. And then for years, there wasn't like those Tycoon games really died off until like the late 2010s when Planet Coaster and stuff came out. And I like Planet Coaster. I checked Steam. Like I bought it when it came out. I had like 20-ish hours in it. But I'm not really a roller coaster tycoon guy. I've always been like a Zoo Tycoon type of dude, right? So I was always waiting for like that spiritual successor to those games. And Frontier did make one. They made Planet Zoo. And I thought Planet Zoo was okay. I think those games focus too much on the sandbox element of the Tycoon games and not enough on the like management side, which is what I usually like about those type of games. The game is very focused on creating things, like, create your own like everything, like create your own like fucking stores and shit. And like I'm like, I don't want to do that. I just want to place the building, place my animals, and have fun, right? That's all I want to do. So yeah, Planet Zoo really wasn't for me. And then they made the Jurassic Park Evolution games, and I never really bought them. Like I think I have like one on Steam, and I played a little bit of it. But that came out like 2018, and I was like playing Spider-Man and like God of War and shit, so I can't really remember. Like I think the game kind of just flew under the radar for me. Then I made a second one. Again, I didn't really like play it. And I finally with this third one, I saw it was getting really good reviews. On Steam it has like a 93% or whatever. On IGN and stuff, they were giving it like 9s and 8s. I'm like, all right, I'll check it out. Fuck it, why not? And I really like it. This is basically like kind of like remedies the problems I had with Planet Zoo. This is also made by Frontier, by the way. So they made all of these games. And the game is like, you place your park, you put your like entrance down, you make some paths, you make some dinosaurs, and that's it. And I'm like, that's exactly what I wanted, man. And it plays a lot like the old Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, where you could send out your dig teams to dig for fossils. You make the dinosaurs. Now you could breed them. That's like a new thing in this game. And another big feature is the modular building like Planet Zoo and Coaster have, but I feel like this game doesn't like force it down your throat as much as those games. Like the game gives you plenty of like blueprints you could just use, so you don't have to like bother with like modular building, which I do appreciate, because it's nice to have that uniqueness to your parks or whatever, but having just like pick up and play type models is great. And the game has like a pretty decent campaign as well. I feel like from what I've read from the other two Jurassic World Evolution games was the campaigns were just like tutorials. They were like 2 hours and just do them and that's it. This game, it gives you like a whole world map you could do. There's a bunch of different parks that they want you to 5-star, and they'll have like gimmicks. Like this one's like, oh, only use flying dinosaurs. This one's like use herbivores or whatever. And I think that makes for a fun little challenge to actually like, you have like a set objective. Like if you're not like creatively inclined to do sandbox, you could just jump into the campaign. You have a bunch of content there, and it's been a lot of fun. And yeah, man, I just been enjoying it. I forgot how much I really love these Zoo Tycoon type games, and it's been a while since I've really played them. Like me playing this game for the first time felt like the fucking Ratatouille meme, where the guy like eats the thing. I'm just, dude, I played those games so much as a kid, so it's really cool to have something that really resonates with me with that. But yeah, besides that, I don't know any of the newer Jurassic World shit. Like I watched Jurassic World 1, I liked it, and then I heard all the other ones were absolute ass. So I didn't watch any of them. So yeah, I'm very much a boomer with the Jurassic Park franchise. I love the first 3 movies and Jurassic World 1, but yeah, but it's cool. You get the hybrid dinosaurs too, so that's neat. You get like the fucking Indominus Rex and like kill people, so you can always do that as well. But yeah, that's all I've been playing, and I guess now we could talk about Ghost of Yotei.
Yes. So Damian finished it. But
yeah,
just to give everyone context, I am 30-something hours in. I got to the second act. Story spoilers, by the way, for this discussion now. Now we are actually going to talk about spoilers. I literally just got up to the mission where we captured the dragon, right, Damian?
Yeah.
Okay, so I captured that guy, and now
actually, I think it's the spider you captured.
The spider, so. one of the Saito brothers. So
it's a spider, yeah.
Captured that guy, and now we're sort of moving along with that storyline, and now I have to get to another point where I have to meet with Okaru or whatever. But yeah, I mean, look, my impression from hours 12 through 13 to now hour 30 something is like completely different. So yeah, I mean, first up, the game actually has way too much shit. Like there's just so much stuff to do. And the first act is extremely bloated. Now that I'm playing through the second act, where the first act really gave you like a lot of stuff to like look out for and to do, a lot of side missions, a lot of weapons to go out and train for, to collect. And now it's like, oh, second act, now we're just killing the Yotei 6. And there are still side missions for you to look out for, NPCs to talk to, for them to give you little side quests or little things to sort of look out for. But, it's not as much as it was within the first act. Another thing that I want to address is my comments on the story last time. I was like, yeah, like the story's not really doing it for me. But now that I killed the Kitsune and also the Oni, I'm like, oh shit, like wait, the story actually is cooking. So I killed the Kitsune first, which learning that this Kitsune is not the same one that helped in killing Atsu's family. I was like, oh shit, it is actually Okaru. I'm probably fucking mispronouncing that, but it's her. And I was like, oh shit, yeah. Like that's kind of interesting. But she is genuinely trying to help you to kill the new Kitsune because she wants Saito to go down. And I'm like, oh, okay, like I really love that. And then I'm like, okay, now let me get to the Oni. What the fuck? What do you mean? What do you mean my brother's alive? I was like, what the hell's happening? So yeah, the story definitely has a lot of twists and turns. You just have to get there. And once I did get there, I was like, okay, yeah, like the story does cook. But then again, the pacing is a little weird because once again, you are kind of, I'm not going to say a lot of the side stuff is optional because you are kind of forced to do it if you want to get more weapons, more tools, you want to learn more about the world of Yotei and everything like that. It's like, okay, you kind of have to do as much as you can before you get to the main story stuff because it'll make those missions a lot easier because I remember I tried to do at the end of Act 1 that Saito mission, and I was like, I cannot fucking do this with like just like 2 weapons. So when I finally got back to it after killing the Oni and the Kitsune, I was like, oh, okay, like this shit is a lot easier. It's a lot more manageable. And the amount of tools that you get from me trying to do it at first to me doing it at the end, I was like, wow, I have like, you know, like 4 different weapons now. I got 2 different bows. I have fucking bombs. I have goddamn freaking blind grenades. Like I have so much shit, you know. It just makes the game so much fun to play and so much more enjoyable. And yeah, I cannot wait to see how it ends because I think I read a spoiler in my TikTok, even though we weren't fucking talking about spoilers. I think someone spoiled something for me. But I like read it for like 2 seconds and I was like, wait, that's a fucking spoiler. I can't read that. But yeah, Ghost of Yotei, it is still extremely fucking good, and I cannot wait to see how it ends.
Yeah, I basically have the same exact thing you just said with the pacing. It's very weird pacing, especially how you unlock certain abilities. Since I went for the Oni first, and then the Kitsune, and I just felt like there was no detective vision in the game. Like, you know, when you could hear out for enemies? Because I didn't have it until like 30 hours into the game. Because I'm like, I guess like Atsu just doesn't know that ability. I'm like, okay, I guess. Because it made sneaking really awkward. But I'm like, okay, I guess that's just how this game is. And then when I got it at like that point, I'm like, holy shit, you get that late. But obviously you could do the Oni or the Kitsune in any order you want. So it kind of just depends what you want to go for first, which is, you know, that's cool. But I also feel like you get certain other abilities like really late into the game, which I won't say, but you just get things a lot like way later than you probably should get it, and that kind of goes with story progression as well. Like it probably should have just been like if you finish the Kitsune or Oni, it says, oh, you're in like chapter 2, just so it's like more sense of progression, because chapter 1 is very big. That's like almost 70% of the game is chapter 1. Okay, and then the next 2 chapters are very short in comparison. So yeah, the pacing does feel a bit off, but I still think the game is a ton of fun. And like you said, the game kind of does forces you to do side content to get stronger. Like, you know, I feel like the weapon crests really aren't optional. Like you kind of need them to like counter all these attacks, especially during the later boss fights. Like you kind of need all your weapons with you to counter the weapons they're going to use. So yeah, the game kind of does force you into that route, but I do think it is quality content. I don't think it's bad, but yeah. And you know, as someone that does do all the things anyway, it doesn't bother me personally, but I definitely agree with you with the pacing. It does feel a bit off sometimes. And it's kind of an issue a lot like the Sony first party games have been having. I feel like a lot of the pacing has just been kind of off for a lot of them. I think because they want to provide more content and things to do, but then it feels a bit awkward in terms of the story progression, so they kind of have to find like a nice middle ground. You know, like Last of Us Part 2 is a big one. Like that game feels very bloated because they want to like, here's like more content, but it's like I don't like need all that content sometimes. Spider-Man 2 has the other weird problem where like, you know, the ending gets fucking insane for like no reason. It's just like, okay, what are we doing here, bud? So yeah, Ghost of Yotei kind of has that same issue, but I still think it's a lot of fun. Like you said, I do think the story gets really interesting with, you know, meeting your brother, you know, fighting the Oni. That's really cool. You know, that was a twist I didn't really see coming either. With the Kitsune, that one really got me too. I'm like, oh, okay, what the fuck? That's a cool plot twist. So, yeah, the game does throw a lot of curveballs at you. And, you know, even though the story is, again, still a pretty basic revenge story, I think there's enough twists and turns to keep it interesting. And, you know, I think the acting is great. You know, I think a lot of the emotional moments are still great. So, yeah, I think Ghost of Yotei is definitely up there. Like, I don't know if it's my, you know, personal game of the year, but it's definitely going to be up there when we do eventually talk about that. So yeah, so far so good. And then next podcast we could talk about the ending, because
hopefully
I do have some like I don't think I have too much more to go, because I do have some like things to say about the ending as well, which not bad or anything, but like I do like it. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because, you know, just going into this game, I was like, okay, I'm not exactly sure what to expect, even though it is like my most anticipated game of the year, because I love Sucker Punch, I love Ghost of Tsushima, and I wonder what they're going to do with Yotei. And they've been really surpassing my expectations on like all fronts in terms of gameplay. The story, you know, there's only so much that they could do because they want to give the player a lot of options in terms of how in terms of how they go about it. But it could only go so far, right? Like, you're still gonna have the player go on this distinct path to get to the desired ending that they have you go on. And the story, I do like that there's a lot of more nuances in terms of this revenge story. It's not just like, oh, revenge is bad. Like, there's a lot of characters and people within Atsu's life that really pull her back to reality to be like, hey, wait, maybe violence isn't the answer. Like Jubei's daughter, like after she does like that whole fucking like, massacre at the goddamn castle or whatever, and then she's like, is that blood? And it's like, it's not my blood. I was like, oh shit, like, this is still like a kid that she's talking to, and Jubei's been trying to protect her from this world, and that's just how he wants to parent her, and you know what, that's fine. But at the same time, it's like the way that Atsu is going about it, it's like she doesn't give a fuck about like anything like that. She doesn't care about like the innocence of this world. She just wants to kill the Yotei 6, and it's kind of clouding her. And I really do like that nuances whenever we do get to story missions and story bits, because it does show that like Atsu is maybe taking it a little too far at times. And Jubei even pointed it out recently within my playthrough, where it was like, you're not the same person you are when you're like dealing with the Yotei 6. Like, what the fuck's going on? So and Jubei was kind of like the same way when he was trying to figure out like if her daughter was alive. Like, there's obviously a lot of trauma and a lot of things within the past that they have yet to resolve. But I just hope that once I finally get to this ending, that I'm happy with the story, because right now the journey of it is very, very good, and I cannot wait to see how it all ends. But presentation, all of that other stuff, it has been extremely good. And yeah, Ghost of Yotei, I'm not exactly sure if it is my game of the year yet. I don't even think by the time I finish it, I say it will be, just because I feel like Donkey Kong and even like Split Fiction, I had a lot more satisfying journey playing. And also it's a lot shorter, because playing a game like this where it's like plus 30 hours, I'm probably going to be up to like 40 hours with it. It's definitely a lot on me personally, but I could see why, some people, they're like, I can fucking play this game all fucking day. And I'm like, I got shit to do, man. Like, come on,
Yeah, that's fair. I do feel like the game it does ask a bit more of you than the first game did. Because I think if you like beeline the first game, I don't think it was as like, oh, you have to do all this stuff, like this game kind of requires you to do. But if you are that dollar to hour ratio, man, then it probably will get you bang for your buck. Even though I did complete it in 50 hours, so technically he's like, oh, you're missing 20 more hours there, bud. But I don't think it needed that. But yeah, I am very interested in when you actually do beat it, because I actually have interesting comparisons between this and Last of Us Part 2, because I was saying they are very similar in terms of plot, but after finishing it, it really does feel like it's kind of like two sides of the same coin type deal. Yeah, I just think it's very interesting, like how, while both games are about revenge, they deal with it very differently. And I actually find that very interesting, especially when I actually did reach the end of, both Last of Us Part 2 and this game. I think it does enough to kind of make itself different from that game. Because, I was kind of harping on it last time, being like, oh, it's kind of like the same story. But now I do feel a bit differently now that I've experienced the ending. So, but yeah, I guess we'll talk about that when you get to it.
Yes.
All right, so on to the news. We have a lot of gaming stuff. Well, we got some gaming stuff. So first is Halo Campaign Evolve. So this is a remake of just the Halo 1 campaign, not the multiplayer, just the single player. I believe it's going to be an Unreal 5, I believe. And it is going to be for Xbox, PC, I believe, and PS5. Microsoft has officially folded. They are putting their flagship series onto the PlayStation. I mean, it was only a matter of time that this was going to happen, but it's still crazy to see it. I was too young to really experience the, Sonic going to GameCube and that being a big deal. Obviously, like, I know we grew up with Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 on GameCube, but it didn't really like hit me like, oh, that was on the Dreamcast. Like, I don't fucking know. I was like 5. Yeah. So, but now it's just like, that's probably how people felt. It's just like, what the fuck? That's crazy. So yeah, seeing this on a PlayStation, like just see the logo there is crazy. But in terms of the trailer itself, I mean, it looks good. I mean, it's very pretty. It's the typical, like, here's the old game now, like, look at it, Unreal graphics, like, look how crazy it looks, right? So yeah, that's cool. I played a little bit of Halo 1. I don't have like a ton of nostalgia for Halo 1 or 2. I started with 3. I played 3, Reach and ODST. Those are the 3 Halo games I have like a lot of nostalgia for. But 1 is cool. I think they could do a lot of things to make 1 not better, but maybe like flow a bit better. I think they're adding like 3 missions like to sort of round out the campaign, since that's all you're getting is the campaign missions. So I'm hoping it's not like a full $70 title, because they're not giving you the multiplayer, they're not giving you anything else to really do, unless they give you Firefight or something, which I doubt they're going to give you. So it really is just the campaign experience. So we'll see if that's enough of a package to make people excited. Halo's been in such a fucking slump for so long. I like Infinite. Like I thought, I didn't play the campaign for Infinite, but I did enjoy the multiplayer of Infinite. I thought that was fun. But like besides that, Halo has been in such a big stump, and I really do hope they kind of get out of it, because I do like the Halo games. Like I think they're fun. So I hope they could like get this rut out of here. 343 has always been struggling to make a good Halo game. So besides like Halo 4. But yeah, I guess we'll see what actually comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I have a long history with Halo as a franchise. When my neighbor, James, he got my brother into the PlayStation 2 and like pretty much gaming in general. And then when he noticed, hey, like, what's the Xbox? I was like, oh shit. Then my brother got an Xbox. We got the Halo 1 and 2 double pack, and, been following Halo ever since. But ever since Bungie left it, it's been kind of in a weird spot. I feel like 343 really nailed Halo 4. That's the Halo that I played the most. I played so much of that multiplayer for like no fucking reason. I don't know why, but something about that game's multiplayer really clicked for me. And I just really like Halo as a series. Like it is definitely one of the staple FPS shooters. And I recently played one of the Halo remasters on PC. And they have redone and remastered Halo 1 so many freaking times that they're doing it again, and they're like, it's called Campaign Evolved because it doesn't come with anything else. And you know what? That's fair. That's fine. I think that this is their way to sort of test the waters in terms of how many people on PlayStation want to play a new Halo game. And you know what? It's not new technically, but you know what? Like I said, it is just to test the waters to see how much of that player base is actually on PlayStation, because Microsoft doesn't really have that data, right? And for them to now move their flagship series onto PlayStation, this is kind of like Microsoft wailing that white flag, being like, we surrender, no more console wars. And yeah, I have no idea what they're going to do about the next Xbox. How are they actually going to sell that thing? And yeah, I mean, I don't blame Xbox or Microsoft for going about it the way they did. It seems very strange and very weird when you look at like their business decisions over the years, where they buy out all of these big studios, these smaller indie studios, and with the recent Activision Blizzard acquisition, and now it's like we're laying people off. All of these games are not succeeding the way that they thought it would. Call of Duty goes on Game Pass, and then apparently they lost millions from that, which is like obvious because people are not going to spend $60 now on the next Call of Duty if it's on Game Pass, especially if they're on PC or Xbox. So yeah, with Halo Campaign Evolved, I mean, I might be there day one. I don't know. I haven't bought Gears of War on a PlayStation 5 yet, even though I really do want to play that game again. I think the reason why Halo has been really slacking for the past, I guess, like decade or whatever, right? Like it has been a very, very long time since people have been really invested into a Halo game, is because of the story. I feel like the story in the Halo games is like low key underrated. I think the series has tried to end multiple times, maybe. I think Halo 3 people thought that was like the final like nail in the coffin for the franchise. And then, they came back with like all of these other spinoffs with like 3 ODST and Halo Reach, and then Bungie was like, all right, we're out, we're gonna go do Destiny. And then Microsoft was like, well, we fucking can't let this thing die. They got 343 to do it. Halo 4 was pretty good in terms of like gameplay, and I think the story was all right. I don't remember much of it. I know Halo 5 was like a disaster from like a story perspective, even though I thought that the concept and the angle of it was pretty interesting. But I just think that a lot of people are just not invested into the Halo story anymore. And I don't know how they're going to get people back into it, right? Because I think that is like a main drawing point for Halo, but it just seems like that it's not really there anymore. But, Halo Campaign Evolved, we'll see how well this one does, because I think it'll launch simultaneously across all 3 platforms, Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. So I think that is going to be the first time Xbox/Microsoft are going to be doing that, especially with like their big flagship title that is Halo. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm just curious in terms of what Xbox and Microsoft are going to do moving forward within the games industry.
Yeah, like we've always been talking about the last like year or two, because Microsoft has been in such a rut.
But this is just their way to be like, all right, well, we're probably going to go third party publishing, which is fine. I think that is totally fair because they have a lot of great games.
Yeah.
All right, next bit of news we got here is Animal Crossing New Horizons Nintendo Switch 2 edition and free update announcement trailer. This is the longest announcement trailer I've ever fucking seen, 12 minutes long. But pretty much it is a $5 Switch 2 edition upgrade, and it has prettier graphics. I think you could have more people online on a certain island. There's also mouse controls, so if you do like the sort of designer stuff within your home, you can do that. So yeah, just like a lot of nice quality of life changes. And then with the free update, I was kind of sort of paying attention to it, but it just looks like that there's just more stuff to do within Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is always good. It seems like that this is just their way to be like, hey guys, we're not going to get a new Animal Crossing game on the Switch 2 for like a couple of years. So like here is this new free update, which is, pretty beefy, pretty fair. As someone who has not played Animal Crossing New Horizons since 2020, which is like 5 years ago now because of the pandemic, and it kind of came out at a very convenient, or maybe not convenient time, but like a very timely release where everyone was inside and everyone was sort of playing that game, and Switches were off of store shelves. That game was sold out everywhere. But now that we have this, I mean, I might go back into it. I don't know. I mean, I think a $5 upgrade is very fair, especially because this is my theory, my like tinfoil hat theory as to why Nintendo charged $5 instead of $10 compared to like the other Nintendo Switch 2 upgrades, is because they want people to actually get back into Animal Crossing. Because I'm sure that they notice and realize that like the numbers are probably declining slowly. So they're like, hey, you know what? People who have it on the original Switch, you could play it on your Switch 2 for $5 with like all of the nice, pretty, shiny updates. And also, we're going to have a free update with a bunch of new stuff. So now when you boot up Animal Crossing, probably for the first time on your Switch 2, you get all of these new free updates. And also you get the prettier, shinier graphics for just $5. So, I might get back into it just because of that, but we'll see. The game is going to launch on January 15, 2026, for anyone wondering.
Yeah, apparently it also doesn't come with an FPS boost. Like, it's still at 30 frames, so that's kind of stinky. Mm-hmm. It's $5, but it's Animal Crossing. Yeah. Like, you don't really need 60 FPS, but yeah, you don't get the frame boost, which is kind of dumb, to be honest, but whatever. I'm actually surprised they didn't charge, they didn't do a full $20 to make this update included with that. I mean, I'm glad it didn't, but I am happy. I am surprised it didn't do that, because I'm like, there is like a substantial amount of content. You have the new hotel mechanic where it kind of acts like the DLC they released for the game, like the Happy Home Designer DLC, where you could customize, villagers' hotel rooms, and then they could give you a currency for it. They added like basically a new creative mode where you can have like 3 different islands you could customize to your heart's content. That's pretty neat. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of quality of life systems as well. Like, I think you could finally multi-craft stuff. People were pointing it out in the trailer, which is like great. Like, I remember crafting so many baits for my fishing stuff, and it was just so annoying to do it like one by one. So now that you could bulk craft, that's a really cool feature they've added as well. So and then you have the collaborations as well. There's like Zelda stuff and Splatoon stuff as well. So that's pretty neat. So it seems like a pretty substantial update. It kind of reminds me of the last update New Leaf got before New Horizons came out. It was the Amiibo Festival one, I believe. Yeah. That added a bunch of content as well before they moved on to the next Animal Crossing game. So yeah, it seems like maybe we'll get the next one, but hopefully not too soon, maybe like 2-3 years. Like Animal Crossing New Horizon kind of came out 3 years after the Switch 1 came out. So guess we'll see. I'll probably pick it up again. I haven't played it since the DLC came out. I played a little bit of the DLC, and I think that was a year after it came out. But yeah, my villagers are like, done. This dude's never coming back. So yeah, I'll probably come back. I like New Horizons. I probably like New Leaf a bit more, if I'm going to be honest. So, yeah. But hopefully this update adds a bit more content to kind of keep me in just for a little bit longer. It'll be nice to sort of talk to my villagers again, explore the island, do the new stuff. So very nice for Nintendo to do that. It also makes the Pikmin 4 thing. I totally forgot this was a thing. They did a Pikmin 4 update, and it didn't include a Switch 2 update. I'm like, why not? It just came with some content, which is cool, but it didn't come with like resolution bump or anything. I'm like, that's so weird. But Nintendo is a weird fucking company, so that's just how it is. Alrighty, so next, or I guess last bit of Nintendo news is the Kirby Air Riders 2 Direct. Or I guess Air Riders Direct 2, whatever.
Yes.
So this is a big, meaty direct. It was an hour long. Sakurai,
I did not watch it, just like full context.
I watched it, and Sakurai, he yaps your ear off in a good way. I mean that lovingly. about all the new content he's adding. Basically, like sort of like the new thing is the road trip mode, and this sort of acts as the story mode / sort of like classic mode for Smash Brothers, where you can sort of like take a racer, you go through like this, basically like how classic mode works in Smash, except you sort of like pick your route. So you could do like different events, you could do different races and, boss battles, I believe, as well. So that's pretty neat. I don't really know how the story is going to play into that, because apparently there is supposed to be a story. I don't know if you have to do it a certain amount of times, or maybe like in certain points something happens. I'm not too sure. He was really vague about that because, he wants you to experience it yourself, which is fine. So I'm very excited for that. That's a really cool mode to have in a racing game. And it kind of just shows that the Smash Brothers DNA in this game is very in full force. Like, this game feels very much like a Smash Brothers game. Other things he introduced was Top Ride. Top Ride was a mode in the original Kirby Air Ride, and that was basically like the I don't even know what, like the slot cars, where you would like kind of have like a top down sort of view of the cars. I think there was some mini game in that in Mario Party like 2 or something. So you kind of just move your cars in like this little track. It was like a fun little mode in Kirby Air Ride 1. And Sakurai's like, we don't have to do it, but we're going to do it anyway. So like he totally made it like a full ass mode. You could use any rider. You could use any machine. You could play it on fucking line for some reason if you want to do that. So that's cool. He introduced a bunch of new racers. You got like Taranza from Triple Deluxe. You got Rick from the Dreamland games. Marks is there as well from Superstar. So a lot of cool character picks. Obviously, you got some meme ones like Rock Guy or the Scarfy as well. So that's neat. He showed more of the online modes. That's where he talked about the boss battles. So you could fight like a metal DDD that all your friends got to tackle on together. And then he showed fucking Nightmare and O2 from Kirby 64 and Kirby Adventures. That's really cool. And then he like teased a bunch of other shit for the story. Like you see like the Fountain of Dreams again, like that hasn't been seen in forever. So yeah, this game is going to be just like a fucking just fan service ass game. And I am very excited for that. And again, everything he's shown has just been like top quality. Even like the online lobbies are like changed from like sound like Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers, you just go into a game and that's it. This game, it seems to be working like more modern fighting games where all the characters are like in a lobby and you can sort of like walk up to someone and like challenge them to a fight, like sort of like Guilty Gear or something. And, he made models for every character to sort of walk without a machine. And that's really cool as well. So yeah, again, Sakurai has been putting his blood, sweat, and tears into this game. Even at the end of Direct, he says, he has no plans to make this a continue, like more Kirby Air Rider games. He has no intention of DLC. He says, what you see is what you get, because I put his all into this. I'm like, I believe you, man. Like you go crazy for every game you do. So
yeah,
it seems like he is putting his all into this game. He's not treating this as just some dumb side game. He is treating it as like a real ass, like full product that you will play and have a ton of fun with. And, that's more than you could say with, I like Mario Kart World. It's just hard not to dunk on it when these other racing games are coming out. But, compared to Mario Kart World, this game just has so much more content compared to that game. And that game was $80. I know you could buy it with the Switch too, which is what most people did. But still doesn't change the fact that was an $80 video game. So, yeah, it seems like Sakurai is really putting his all into Kirby Air Riders. I'm very excited to play it. I'm excited to see like all the stuff he hasn't shown, since he still says, even though we got like an hour and 40 minutes of information for this game, he still says there's a ton of stuff we don't know. So that makes me really excited to see just what else he's hiding. If there's new characters he hasn't shown, new vehicles, new bosses, I am very excited to see what this game has to offer. And I will be playing a ton of it as well. So, because I love Kirby, and it seems like Sakurai like just fucking went crazy with this game. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who didn't watch the Direct, but saw little bits of it on social media and listened to what Damian just said, Kirby Air Rider seems like it is going to be a beast of a kart racing game, or just a racing game in general. Sakurai always puts his 110% into any project that he works on. In this game especially, it seems like that he is very passionate about Kirby, and returning to a series like Air Rider was something that has been on his mind for probably a while. And I'm glad that he's really putting everything that he wants into this project, and him making it clear that like there's no DLC, there's not going to be anything else after this. Like, this is the Kirby Air Rider sequel that I wanted to make, and this is it. And the fact that we have nearly 2 hours of just information on the game is insane. And the fact that there's probably even more stuff that we don't know about, which is great. More surprises. Awesome. I love that. It just seems like that this is going to be anything and everything that Kirby fans and Kirby Air Rider enjoyers would want from a sequel like this. And I think he also announced more amiibo, very expensive amiibo, but I think I just saw him move around like the King DDD cart a little bit. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it transforms, which is kind of cool.
That is pretty dope that these amiibo, despite their price, they have some pretty cool functionalities with them. But yeah, I mean, I just cannot wait to dive into it myself. I think I might watch this in the background after we finish recording. But yeah, Kirby Air Rider just seems like the dream sequel to anyone that wanted another Kirby Air Rider game.
Yep.
Okay, so entertainment news. Let's talk about the big one. Adam Driver talks about The Hunt for Ben Solo, a canceled Star Wars film. So, to anyone that doesn't know, including Damian, so Adam Driver, he talked to AP News, and he sort of opened up about a Star Wars film that he was heavily involved with. It was going to take place after The Rise of Skywalker, which was the last film within the new Disney trilogy. And Driver felt like that there was some unfinished business with Kylo Ren. So he has been taking the time to talk and develop a film with director Steven Soderbergh ever since 2021. So he's been on this thing for a while. And he just loves that character. He loves Kylo Ren and he loves playing him. So from AP, Driver calls the result one of the coolest expletive scripts I have ever been a part of. And it was written by Scott Z. Burns. Lucasfilm, they love the idea. Catherine Kennedy, Carrie Beck, and Dave Filoni. And Driver was like, they totally understood our angle and why we were doing it. And then Disney, Bob Iger, and Alan Bergman, they said no. Adam Driver straight up said yeah, these people, they said no. So they just didn't see how Ben Solo was alive. And once this news came out, everyone fucking lost their shit. As someone who is dating a girl who loves Star Wars but also loves Kylo Ren, she was losing her fucking mind. She was like, what do you mean there is a Star Wars Kylo Ren film? And Disney said fucking no. What do you mean? And we're getting the goddamn Mandalorian film that looks like a fucking Disney Plus episode. Anyways, so yeah, it was honestly really crazy to see the backlash and the sort of fan response online, because literally anyone and everyone within the Star Wars community, no matter what part of it you're from, everyone was like, what do you mean you canceled a Kylo Ren film? Like, that just sounds fucking dope. I think anything from the sort of Disney trilogy, there are certain characters and certain things that people don't like. Like, for example, my biggest thing is that like the fucking trilogy wasn't planned out. So like there wasn't a concrete story for like any of these characters from like beginning to end. I honestly think Last Jedi was the most interesting because Rian Johnson kind of just did whatever the fuck he wanted. But if Adam Driver, the actor who plays Kylo Ren, really wanted to do another film, I don't see why Disney would say no, but they said no. And fans have been putting up like fucking planes and shit like in the air, billboards in Times Square. Like, they have been really rallying to Disney to be like, hey, we actually want this movie, so please get out there and do it. And props to Adam Driver for coming out and actually like, I guess, like leaking this or breaking NDA or whatever, because like this could have been something like under the wraps for like a couple more years, but he's like, fuck it, like I kind of want to do this movie, and him just making it public and letting people know, I think that is like the best thing that he could have done, because otherwise this probably would have never happened. And I wonder what's going to happen, because I think Bob Iger is supposed to step down from Disney soon, so I wonder what's going to happen there. Maybe Adam Driver could try to pitch it again. I have no idea, but people want this Kylo Ren film, and I am behind them, because I think that it is just so rare to get an actor or someone who plays a character so passionately about their character that they would work with a director, work with a writer for years and years and years to just get a pitch going, right? Like, they just want to show people to be like, hey, like this is our vision and this is what we want to do. And for Disney to just be like, no, like we don't see how Ben Solo's alive is fucking crazy, especially in the world of Star Wars, where like Darth Maul has come back from the dead and several other characters have come back from the dead. It's just like, well, people want Kylo Ren. And especially when you talk about Rise of Skywalker, fucking Palpatine's alive. What the fuck you mean Palpatine's alive? Like, that literally made no sense. But anyways, Damian, what did you think?
I think it's it's crazy they didn't allow this to happen. One, because Kylo Ren is very popular. And two, I feel like it's very rare for a Star Wars actor to actually still like the series enough to like want to keep doing it, right?
Yes.
I feel like so many Star Wars actors hate fucking Star Wars by the time they're done with it. I mean, Harrison Ford is a very popular example. I'm forgetting his name, the guy who played Finn. Like, I know he always shits talks Disney.
Yeah.
Rey, the person that plays Rey, like, I just like never talks about Star Wars anymore either. So I feel like it's very rare for people that actually like act in Star Wars to like still give a shit about it or even care about it. So like denying Adam fucking Driver like him like to like I want to make a Kylo Ren movie like, and you know that seems like very easy money for Disney, and they said no. That's crazy. I don't know if it was something. I know Star Wars is in a rough spot. You know, I mean, still kind of is, but like, especially during after Rise of Skywalker, I'm sure like they didn't want anything to do with like new Star Wars movies. Like they kind of wanted to play it low key and see if people even cared about the brand still. That's probably why they denied it. But again, like you said, they're going ahead with Mandalorian and Grogu, and I like Mandalorian, but that trailer didn't look very good. So I think something like this would have been a bit better, mostly just to like flesh out that the sequel trilogy in general, since I feel like the sequel trilogy kind of needs the Clone Wars treatment where they get a lot of additional media to really help flesh it out. I mean, because when you think about it, like a lot of Clone Wars stuff, like the movies themselves are like pretty fucking bad. Like I feel like it's all the material around it that makes it like really good. Obviously, I still like episode 3, right? Like episode 3, I'm always gonna like episode 3, but you know, episodes 1 and 2 are pretty notoriously like not super great. But the thing that makes them cool is like the Clone Wars show and all the extended media, like that's what made it like super interesting. And I feel like the sequel trilogy just never got that because people just didn't care. And like you said, there was never a story built out for it anyway. It was just kind of this like
hodgepodge of just like stories going
different
on,
directors and like stories. Like they had no idea what they wanted to do with the sequel trilogy. So now that someone actually wanted to do stuff, they're like, "Fuck you, no." So hopefully we do get something from this because you know I don't even know if Adam Driver still really wants to do it, but it'd be pretty neat to see the sequel trilogy get the sort of fleshing out that it kind of needs to be good. Yeah, but I guess we'll see what Disney does because getting no from Bob Iger is just like, I mean, you can't really, that's like the highest guy you say no to. So,
and considering that I believe the script was finished when they pitched it, right? Like they didn't just have like a outline of it. Like they actually had a completed script and everything. It's like you had like pretty much the blueprints to like probably like a box office like moneymaker, and they said no. Like that is just crazy to me. But you know, there's enough fan backlash and enough people being vocal online. The hashtag The Hunt for Ben Solo. I mean, that is just such a fucking cool title. I'm not gonna lie. So you know, we'll see if this actually happens. I mean, crazier things have happened within the Star Wars universe, like the Clone Wars getting its final season that leads into episode 3 and how well they did that one. Like, you know, anything can happen with this franchise. And I hope that, you know, Disney and whoever else takes over is actually able to greenlight this. Because like I said, this is like a guaranteed moneymaker just by looking at the amount of people that were talking about it online.
But yeah, I guess the next thing we got here is Stranger Things 5. So we finally got the first like sort of like real trailer about it. You know, if you didn't know, the dates are going to be like, I think the 24th of November or 26th. I think it's the 26th.
It's in the description. 26th of November.
26th, Christmas for Volume 2. And the finale is going to be New Year's Eve. And for the finale, select theaters are going to be showing it in theaters during that time in December 31st. So that's pretty interesting. Don't know if I'm going to see that because I'm probably going to be working, but it would be cool to see that. So yeah, obviously they want this to be a big thing, right? They've been like, you know, hyping up Stranger Things 5 for like the last like year or so. Obviously it took fucking forever for this thing to come out to begin with. The kids are like old as shit now, but we're finally here. This, you know, the finale for Stranger Things. And yeah, I mean, I thought the trailer looked good. I mean, it's basically what you expect from like a finale trailer. Like it's very, you know, ominous. Like you got all the things leading up. Like the end is coming. Here we go. Get ready for the finale. You know, you see like 11 doing crazy shit. You see Vecna terrorizing Will again for like the 5th time in a row. So like, yeah, like that kid can't get a break. So yeah, I'm very interested to see how they really finish all of this. And, you know, I'm just hoping it's not like rushed, and I don't think it is because every episode is gonna be long as shit anyway. But I still have that feeling, like, you know, I feel like you could really just fuck it up. You know, Game of Thrones show, no matter how many good seasons you had, no matter how many good moments you had, if your ending sucks, like that's like the thing people are going to remember it for forever, right? Because it's like, why would I bother watching this if the ending is ass, right? Yeah. So I really do hope Stranger Things does nail the ending. I feel like it shouldn't be that hard to begin with, but I feel like it is going to be like a whole thing if they don't get it right. So I really do hope this ends well, because I really liked. Again, I'm always such a Stranger Things apologist, but I really do like Stranger Things. Like, I think it is a really good show series, and I think the main reason why so many people turn on it is because of how long the things take to come out, and then the actors saying dumb shit. I'm just like, all right, like we need to finish this shit, man. For someone else says something stupid. But yeah, besides that, the trailer looks great. I'm excited to see more of this. The ending and how things really come to a conclusion, and they can finally wrap this shit up.
Yeah, and what's it called? I think some of the cast members even came out, or people that work on this season of Stranger Things. They're like, yeah, we are aware of like being Game of Thrones and like making sure that like we actually stick the landing, and they are very aware of that. And I think Netflix having the balls to sort of put it out in theaters and sell tickets to it. I mean, whether that finale is good or bad is, yet to be seen, obviously, but them having so much confidence to be like, hey, we're going to put it in theaters, and to people that do want to watch it in theaters, you could go see it with a bunch of other fans. I mean, that is going to be a dice roll. We'll see how those fans behave within those movie theaters, because I'm definitely going to be one of those people to hopefully see it within theaters. I just don't know which theaters are going to have it yet, but hopefully one within my area will, because I know one of my friends from work, Chris, he is a big Stranger Things guy, and he was like, I'm going to be there day one whenever that finale drops. I'm like, all right, bro, let me know and I will pull up with you. But yeah, I think that it is just so interesting that Netflix is now playing friendly with theaters, because I'm sure they saw the numbers from freaking K-pop Demon Hunters, which they are now re-releasing again on Halloween today. They are now re-releasing it again in theaters because, it made a fuck ton of money because people really like that movie. And for them to, give the Dover brothers that sort of grace to be like, hey, I know you guys want to play this in theaters. We'll have the finale play in theaters, which I think is great, and I'm sure the finale is going to be well over an hour and a half long. It's probably going to be close to 2 hours. I have no idea. But, this is definitely going to be a event for a lot of people. And apparently people are going to cry in theaters. There's going to be a lot of sad shit going on. That is like the main thing with Stranger Things is that like the main 4 kids, they're fucking safe. Like nothing's ever going to happen to them. But now that we're like at the end, it's like anything could happen, right? So I wonder if they're really going to save those big moments for the ending, and we're not really going to see super major character deaths between the first 2 volumes, which I'm kind of scared of, right? Because I think that is when Stranger Things is the most interesting, is when there are stakes involved. But, throughout the 4 seasons that we've seen so far, they're very comfortable killing the new characters, which sucks because, like a lot of those new characters, they're pretty fucking cool. And then they just kill them off because it's like, well, we can't kill one of the kids. We can't kill one of like the main staples now. It's like, fuck. So, I just hope that with season 5 that they don't hold anything back, and that the writing, the sort of the direction that they go for this season. And once we get to that final episode, it just all sticks to landing, because, not just us as the audience, but the people involved with the show, they know very much how important landing this ending is going to be, but we'll see. All right, final bit of just a little fun news. So we got Mattson Tomlin, writer for The Batman Part 2. He said he is interested in writing a Spider-Man 4 featuring Tobey Maguire. So he just tweeted out like randomly earlier this year on July 30th. He was like, hey, like if you were to write like something Spider-Man related, he would want to do a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire Spider-Man being like a husband and a father. And I was like, you know what? That sounds pretty fucking dope. And then I think someone asked him again on Twitter to be like, hey, like anything going on with that? He's like, haven't gotten a no yet. So, I guess just like theorizing about like what would happen with this film, or just like the Spider-Man films in general, right? Because, with Sony's rights and all that other complicated politics behind it, I'm sure if Sony and like the people behind it, and maybe even Marvel to like a certain extent, really wanted it to happen, it probably could happen. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is definitely the most nostalgic one out of everything, because people really love Tobey's version of that character and what Sam Raimi did behind the camera. And, I think Spider-Man as a father and Spider-Man as like a parent and everything, I think that would be a very interesting dynamic for him to juggle with, especially since we could use like the real life sort of like time jump between Spider-Man 3 to this theoretical Spider-Man 4. But, it would be cool. I don't know if it's ever going to happen just because, you know, I feel like Sony has been really, really stupid and really dumb with their decisions when it comes to the wall crawler.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool for them to explore that idea since I feel like the comics are kind of exploring that more nowadays. Like
Spider-Man, with the Ultimate Spider-Man run. Yeah.
Yeah, like settling down and having like, you know, like have a kid now. Like I think that'd be a pretty interesting take to have. And they could explain that time jump between, you know, like Tobey's old now. So like you could have that be like an actual plot point. And I guess it depends on Tobey if he really even wants to do it. Like I'm sure if he does agree to it, it's going to be a very different Spider-Man movie. Like probably less on the action and more of like, I guess like the meaning of being the character and like maybe like choosing that being a husband and father or being a superhero. Like you could do some interesting things with that plot point. It really depends if Sony I guess wants to do it since I believe they're the ones that have the rights to that still, right? Or I don't know.
Something like that. Politics. Film politics.
There's always the issue with these Spider-Man stuff that isn't like, you know, like the Tom Holland Spider-Man trilogy or any of the animated stuff. It's just hard to get that because, you know, I mean, it's just Sony live action stuff themselves. It's awful all the time.
Yes.
So, like, obviously the Spider-Verse stuff, great. The Disney Spider-Man stuff, you know, take it or leave it for some people, but I like it. You know, when it comes to like the other shit, like Madam Web and Venom, like they're either stupid fun or just stupid, right? So,
yeah.
I guess we'll see how they really go with it. Obviously, you know, let's get to Batman 2 first, and then we can start talking. But I would be totally down for a plot like that. I think it'd be very unique and different. And you know, obviously they could play with the nostalgia of it being Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man 4. But I feel like you could really like, you know, have like a pretty heartfelt movie instead of it being like just a standard superhero movie. At least that's how I would envision a movie like this, you know. And I feel like if Tobey was gonna do a Spider-Man 4, it would be like his last one. I feel like like I don't think that he should do like a new trilogy or whatever. Like I feel like it would be like this is the end. Like let my man rest, you know. But it would be cool to get one more big Spider-Man movie with him though.
Yeah, and you know, I guess just like talking about like the numbers and like how much would he actually get paid because we don't know how much he got for that No Way Home sort of, you know, role, right? Like obviously he probably asked for like pretty decent amount of change to come back and put the suit back on. And I know a lot of people would also want Sam Raimi to be behind the camera again because I know that he has said that he wouldn't mind coming back to do a Spider-Man 4, but you know, like I said, this is just all theoretical stuff, and you know, we'll see if it ever actually happens. I'm just holding my breath because you know, for some reason, the Marvel editorial team over on the comics division, they just don't like it when Peter is happy and has kids or is married. I'm just like, why the fuck can't we do that? I think that is just such an interesting thing, and I love that Peter B. Parker within the animated films was able to do that. So, you know, we'll see if it ever happens, but you know, I'm not gonna hold my breath to it.
Yeah.
All right. So that is it for this episode of the Travis and Damian podcast. Is there anything else you would like to add, Damian?
No, that's about it.
All right. So thank you guys for listening to episode 175. You will see us a little less than 2 weeks from now with another episode.
See ya.